peeps all around the world watching my video. Today, now I've done the top 5 best unique melee weapons, unique range weapons, unique armor sets and artifacts. Now it's time to go to the flip side and do the top 5 worst unique melee weapons. If you ever get these, don't use them. Now, number 5, the diamond pickaxe. Now, can I just say, you know how I said don't use them just then? This is an exception. If you want, but in one scenario. If you want to use the diamond pickaxe, the only time I suggest using the diamond pickaxe is when you're farming for emeralds. Because this thing has built-in prospector. So the only time I'd recommend using it is when you're emerald farming, because you'll get more emeralds. But if you're just doing like normal day-to-day playing, this is not recommended, because all it is a normal pickaxe, except A, it gives you more emeralds, and B, it's, with normal pickaxes, if you get like normal iron pickaxes, if you get swirling and shockwave on it, it'll activate that every hit. This only activates that every second hit. So yeah, and besides, even if it didn't, this would still be here, because I rank these videos without enchantments. So yeah, and I mean, I'm not going to lie and say it's all that bad. It is doing a fair bit of damage, but you can do better. Alright, so that was number 5, the diamond pickaxe. Now, time to use number 4. Let me just get into a safe spot. Number 4. Number 4, ow. Oh gosh, okay. Not yet, so. Number 4, the frost scythe. Now look, this thing is pretty good. Psych, it's 4th worst weapon. Now look, let me explain. If you're doing like a soul build, then it's really good. But if you're not, then yeah, I wouldn't use it. Simply because like mobs like that skeleton, if there's no use in having it for like mobs you're gonna one-shot. Because the unique enchantment built in is when you hit a mob, it slows their movement and attack speed down. But if you're one-shotting mob, it's not gonna change that at all. So only like stuff you're not gonna one-shot, you should use this on. And also another thing to add, this thing is very, well, not very slow, but this thing is slow. You can get slower, obviously, but still, like this would be up there for slowest types of weapons, the scythes. But yeah, now, like it's not all bad though, because yeah, stuff like that it slows them down, and also it has a fairly good range. Like you can stay back a bit, and it has a fairly good range. So yeah, and also it has a swooping attack. So yeah, it's pretty good, but unless you're using a soul build, I wouldn't exactly recommend it. Now, number 3, the not number 3 yet, lol. Get lost, you witch. Number 3, the Jayla Scythe. Now this is the other scythe, and this, like, let me just say, I'm ranking these from bad to worse. So number 1 is the worst of them all. The frost scythe is definitely better than the Jayla Scythe, by the way, because the Jayla Scythe has changed, which like when I was testing it, change would barely activate, and yeah, and even when it does, change isn't even that good of an enchantment. All it does is like stuns mobs, but since it like sort of stuns mobs, and for a second, so yeah, it isn't. So change isn't exactly the best. This is like one of my least favorite enchantments. At least personally, it's one of my least favorite enchantments. The only thing saving this weapon, there's 2 things saving it. Well, 3 things. 1, it does a fair bit of damage by itself, and 2, it's a scythe, so it has a lot of range. And just like this frost scythe, if you're using it for a soul build, then yeah, it would be fine. But I'm just using it for normal, like just damage build or whatever, not a soul build. So that's why number 3 is the Jayla Scythe. Because yeah, this is just because, and it's mainly in this spot because I just don't like chains, and also I don't use soul build. Like if you use a soul build, 100% use, well not use this, maybe use the frost scythe. But yeah, do whatever. But yeah, this is just my advice. But yeah, that in my opinion is the third worst weapon in all of Minecraft dungeons, the Jayla Scythe. Now, moving into number 2 is the Hammer of Gravity. Now, this is probably like Venom Grave at number 3 in my top 5 best unique melee weapons, and coming in as a shock. But this thing is pretty bad. Like, because, yeah, whilst it does a lot of damage, it's really slow. So when there's like a lot of mobs surrounding you, you're screwed. And also, it doesn't exactly have the best damage per second. You see, I'm screwed right here because I'm being surrounded by a lot of mobs. So yeah, because and it's not exactly got the best range either. It's like a short, slow weapon. It's really not that good. I feel like there's only really 2 things stopping it from number 1. The fact that it does do a lot of damage, and like when there's not a lot of mobs then just surrounding you, it pulls in like the 2 or 3 mobs that are near you, so it pulls them into them to get hit. But other than that, it's really not that good. So yeah, number 2 is the Hammer of Gravity. And yeah, probably a shock pit, but still, I really don't like this thing. And look, now I just gotta say, the Stormlander is different, because the Stormlander has like the Thundering enchantment works really well, because it does like a lot of damage like all around, and yeah. So yeah, that was number 2, the Hammer of Gravity. Now, I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to take a guess. 5. What the worst one is. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. The worst weapon in all of Minecraft dungeons, in my opinion, and I'm sure you've guessed it based off one of the other weapons in this video, the flail. Now look, because as I said, I don't really like the change enchantments. This has changed, which barely activates, and also this doesn't even have as good range or damage as the Jayla Scythe. At least the Jayla Scythe had a fair bit of range in front of it. This doesn't. This like has a bit more speed, which is nice, but not as much damage or range attack. It has a bit of side attack, but again, not as much as the Jayla Scythe. That's why it's worse. Yeah, like the maces, they're average. Yeah, it's just trash. I'm lost for words, but yeah, and also like when I was testing the chains enchantments on this would barely like affect, like they'd barely be used. I mean, now that I'm actually doing a level and recording, it's getting used a lot more. But when I was testing, it was not. But yeah. So the chains enchantment is a bad enchantment, and the the flail is the worst weapon in all of Minecraft dungeons. So yeah, well, that's gonna do it for the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and yeah, I haven't made content in like a week or so, so it's nice to finally be back making content. But yeah, that's gonna do it for you guys. Oh, I guess oh, my inventory's full. I haven't seen that before. But yeah, that's gonna do it for the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe to the channel, it helps out a lot. We're nearly at 20 subs, so if we can just get to that final stretch, that'll mean the world to me. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy.